Can you imagine a country where people collect garbage to cook food or live directly on graveyards among tombstones? Welcome to the Philippines, an amazing and contradictory place where stunning beauty coexists with shocking reality. Behind the shiny facades of skyscrapers and paradise beaches lies a world full of remarkable and sometimes disturbing phenomena. At first glance, it is a tropical paradise with a rich culture and hospitable people. But dig deeper and you'll discover aspects of life that can be both exotic and harsh. Are you ready to learn the truth about the Philippines, which doesn't always fit the usual notions of travel and leisure? This fascinating story will open your eyes to the strangest and most unexpected aspects of life in this multifaceted country. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the bell. 1 strange facts about the Philippines. The Philippines, an archipelago with over 7,000 islands, is known for its cultural diversity and stunning landscapes. However, behind these charming facades lie some strange and shocking realities. Despite its natural wealth, much of the country's population lives in poverty. In the densely populated slums of megacities, people are forced to seek sustenance and employment under conditions that can shock even seasoned travelers. Here you can encounter people who eat scraps of food, and even those who do so due to a lack of resources and opportunities. Women and children are particularly vulnerable to harsh realities, including high crime rates and the presence of organized crime groups. Prostitution and sexual exploitation are also serious issues, often due to socioeconomic inequality and lack of protection for rights. These shocking aspects of life in the Philippines create a contrast with the country's tourist appeal, where beaches and tropical resorts attract visitors from around the world. However, it is important to understand that behind the external prosperity often lies a harsh reality that is rarely discussed. Travelers interested in exploring the real life in the Philippines may encounter unexpected and sometimes unpleasant discoveries, which force one to reflect on the complexities and contradictions of this country. 2. Consumption of garbage as food. The Philippines is a country where necessity dictates unusual forms of survival. In some parts of the country, people collect garbage to prolong their lives. One of the most shocking examples is the practice of cooking food from scraps. In conditions of poverty, when resources are limited, scavengers collect food remnants that might seem unfit for consumption. These scraps are carefully sorted, washed, and cooked into dishes such as papaya, a soup made from meat scraps and other discarded food. Despite health risks, such measures often become the only way to ensure food. The process of preparing such dishes may include various cleaning and processing methods aimed at minimizing the risk of disease. For locals, this is not only a survival method, but also a part of everyday reality for many. While such practices may shock foreigners, they are part of the real life in conditions of extreme poverty. It is a tragic testimony to how social inequality and economic instability can lead to extreme necessity and the inability to access normal food. 3. Prisons in the Philippines. The prison system in the Philippines is an example of deep social and legal problems. Overcrowded prisons, terrible living conditions, and violence are just the tip of the iceberg. Institutions often experience significant overcrowding, with inmates placed in extremely cramped conditions. Many prisons lack adequate medical care, and sanitary conditions leave much to be desired. Children are also housed in communal cells with adult criminals, making them vulnerable to violence and abuse. Moreover, some prisons in the country have become symbols of cruelty and despotism, with mass riots and violence among inmates. The justice system faces numerous challenges, including corruption and a lack of resources, which only exacerbate existing problems. Prisons in the Philippines are a grim reminder of the need for reforms and improvements in living conditions and the right to a fair trial. Or people living in cemeteries. In the Philippines, one can encounter a strange and touching phenomenon. Many people are forced to live in cemeteries. In Manila, where housing shortages have reached critical levels, cemeteries have become the last refuge for the homeless. Families, having no other choice, set up their homes directly on graves, turning them into makeshift houses. They build small huts from available materials, with grave slabs serving as tables and beds. These people earn a living by providing various services at the cemetery, such as grave maintenance, tombstone carving, or selling candles and flowers. Despite the eerie proximity to the deceased, many consider such living conditions to be a better choice compared to slums. However, living in a cemetery is not just a place to sleep, but also a constant struggle for survival. Serious problems with sanitation, lack of access to clean water and electricity, and the constant threat of eviction make living in a cemetery extremely difficult. This situation is another manifestation of extreme poverty and social inequality characteristics characteristic of the Philippines. 5. Street children in the Philippines. Street children are one of the most pressing social issues in the Philippines. It is estimated that over 30,000 children live on the streets of Manila alone. These children often end up on the streets due to poverty, family violence, or loss of parents. Being in an extremely vulnerable position, they become easy prey for criminal gangs involved in drug trafficking and prostitution. Many of these children are forced to beg or engage in petty theft to survive. Without access to education and medical care, they often suffer from diseases and malnutrition. Some children are used as cheap labor or forced into prostitution, which further exacerbates their situation. Despite the efforts of non-governmental organizations and the government, the problem remains unresolved. Street children in the Philippines are not only a tragedy for the children themselves, but also a serious challenge for the entire society, requiring a comprehensive approach and urgent measures. 6. Export of women from the Philippines. The Philippines is one of the largest exporters of labor in the world, particularly among women. About 2.2 million Filipinos work abroad, primarily in the Middle East and South Asia. Most women hold positions in healthcare, domestic work, and service sectors, where they can earn several times more than at home. These immigrants often send money back to their families in the Philippines, making their labor a crucial source of income for many households. However, working abroad, Filipino women face numerous problems. Exploitation, poor working conditions, low wages, and instances of abuse have become commonplace. Many have to endure harsh conditions due to their financial situation and promises of employment. The Philippine government and international organizations are trying to improve the situation, but the problem remains relevant and requires a comprehensive approach to ensure the safety and rights of Filipino workers abroad. 7. Shopping in the Philippines. The Philippines boasts some of the largest shopping malls in the world, which serve not only as shopping venues but also as centers for leisure and entertainment. In Manila, for example, SM North EDSA is one of the largest shopping malls in the world, offering shoppers a vast selection of stores, restaurants, and entertainment zones. Another impressive site is SM Mall of Asia in Pasay, which attracts not only locals but also tourists with its extensive shops, entertainment options, and stunning bay views. Shopping in the Philippines represents more than just retail. It is an important part of the social life and culture of the country. Malls serve as meeting places for people of all ages and social statuses, where they can spend time, dine, entertain themselves, and, of course, shop. These centers reflect not only the country's economic growth, but also its dynamic culture of consumption and entertainment. 8. Dependence on SMS in the Philippines. The Philippines is renowned for its unusual attachment to text messaging. Around 400 million SMS messages are sent daily, making the country one of the largest users of this form of communication in the world. This habit has played a significant role in business, politics, and personal life in the Philippines. SMS messages are used for everything, from communicating with friends and family to organizing business meetings and political campaigns. With limited internet access and high call costs, text messaging remains an accessible and effective way of communication for most Filipinos. This practice has become part of the country's culture and daily life, helping people stay connected, exchange information, and maintain contact in conditions of limited resources. Thus, SMS messages not only demonstrate Filipinos' attachment to this mode of communication, but also reflect their adaptability to their living conditions. 9. Wealth inequality in the Philippines. The Philippines has one of the highest levels of inequality in East Asia, reflected in the stark contrast between wealth and poverty. According to statistics, the country suffers from significant income disparity, making social inequality one of the most pressing issues. On the same streets, you can see both luxurious mansions and tiny slums where people live in extreme poverty. Inequality is not only expressed in income, but also in access to education and healthcare. There is a significant disparity between the quality of services available to the wealthy and the poor. While wealthy Filipinos can afford private medical clinics and international schools, most poor families struggle to access 10. The widening wealth gap in the Philippines. The Philippines suffers from one of the highest levels of inequality in East Asia, reflected in the stark contrast between wealth and poverty. According to statistics, the country experiences significant income disparities, making social inequality one of the most pressing issues. On the same streets, one can observe luxurious mansions and tiny slums where people live in extreme poverty. Inequality is evident not only in income, but also in access to education and healthcare. There is a considerable difference in the quality of services available to the rich and the poor. While wealthy Filipinos can afford private medical clinics and international schools, the majority of poor families struggle to access basic healthcare and quality education for their children. Moreover, systemic issues in economic policies and social structures prevent effective resolution of this inequality. Problems such as job scarcity, corruption, and insufficient funding for social programs exacerbate the situation and hinder its resolution. Addressing this complex social issue requires a comprehensive approach and decisive actions from the government and international organizations to level the playing field for all Filipinos. 11. The Bajau people and their way of life. In the Philippines, there is a unique ethnic group known as the Bajau, also referred to as sea gypsies. These people traditionally live on the water, constructing their homes on floating platforms or building residential areas directly above the water. The Bajau are renowned for their exceptional skills in underwater swimming and fishing, which allows them to survive in conditions that many would find unusual. Despite their unique culture, the Bajau face several challenges. Environmental pollution with plastic waste and the decline in fish populations due to ocean warming and overfishing negatively impact their traditional way of life. Additionally, low levels of education and limited access to modern medical services create problems for this community. Many live in poverty, making it difficult to improve their living conditions and access resources. Nevertheless, the culture and lifestyle of the Bajau attract researchers and tourists interested in exploring the unique traditions and ways of life of this community. Preserving their traditions and providing necessary support to improve their living conditions can help safeguard the Bajau's unique heritage and secure their future. 12. Terrorism issues in the Philippines. The Philippines faces a serious threat from terrorism despite a recent decrease in the activity of terrorist groups. Several radical groups, such as Abu Sayyaf and the Islamic State in East Asia, have carried out terrorist acts and attacks that harm civilians and infrastructure. Terrorist groups in the Philippines use homemade explosives to carry out attacks, presenting a particular threat to public safety. Reports on casualties and damage from such attacks show one of the highest levels of terrorism-related fatalities in the Asia-Pacific region. While Philippine authorities take measures to combat terrorism, including military operations and cooperation with international partners, a comprehensive approach is required to address the issue. This includes tackling poverty, improving education, and enhancing the social climate. International efforts to support security and stabilize the situation in the Philippines play a crucial role in ensuring long-term peace and security in the country. However, overcoming the threat of terrorism requires not only military actions, but also effective social and economic development. 13. The Coconut King of the Philippines. The Philippines is the world's largest producer and exporter of coconuts. The coconut palm holds significant importance in the country's economy due to its versatility and the income it generates in various sectors, including oil production, coconut milk, and fiber for industrial use. Coconut plantations in the Philippines cover 3.4 million hectares, making the country a key player in the global coconut market. The coconut industry has a considerable impact on the lives of millions of Filipinos. It provides employment in agriculture and processing sectors, helping to support the incomes of many families. However, despite its importance, the industry faces challenges such as climate change and palm diseases that threaten the future of coconut plantations. The Philippines is actively working to expand its export opportunities in the coconut sector, aiming to strengthen its position in the global market. At the same time, internal challenges require attention and adaptation of strategies to ensure the industry's sustainability and the well-being of its workers. 14. Overpopulation in the Philippines. The Philippines suffers from high population density, which creates significant challenges for infrastructure and public services. The average population density is 366 people per square kilometer, making the country one of the most densely populated in the world. This issue is particularly acute in the capital, Manila, where the population density exceeds 46,000 people per square kilometer, leading to massive problems with housing, transportation, and sanitation. The rapid population growth combined with a high birth rate, 2.6 children per woman, exacerbates urban problems, causing a shortage of affordable housing and congestion in public transport. The increasing number of residents puts additional pressure on existing resources and infrastructure, making it difficult to address issues such as providing quality education, healthcare, and other public services. Solving the problem of overpopulation requires a comprehensive approach, including improving urban planning, expanding social programs, and actively attracting investment in infrastructure. The situation demands effective management and strategic planning to create comfortable living conditions amid rapid population growth. 15. Jeepneys, a popular mode of transport in the Philippines. Jeepneys are a unique and integral part of the transportation infrastructure in the Philippines, embodying not only the creativity of Filipinos, but also their ability to adapt and transform heritage. These colorful painted buses, originally built from military jeeps, attract attention with their extravagant designs and distinctive atmosphere. Jeepneys are more than just a mode of transport. They are an important part of the cultural heritage of the Philippines, symbolizing popular creativity and determination. After World War II, American military jeeps left in the Philippines were repurposed into passenger buses. These jeepneys were adapted to meet local needs and quickly became a popular means of transportation in cities and rural areas. They can carry from 14 to 30 passengers, often seated on benches along the side walls. The vibrant colors and decorative elements make each vehicle unique, creating a special atmosphere in the urban landscape of the Philippines.